What is going on, folks? Welcome back to another edition of the Fightful Wrestling Weekly, brought to you by the fine folks over at Fightful.com. Who are you?
I'm Tim. What's going on?
And I'm Nick, your hosts, as always. And as always, we're going to kick it off the way we always do with some Raw and Smackdown notes. This week's WWE Monday Night Raw went under heavy rewrites all throughout Monday, including well into Monday night that had many people scrambling, like during the night. The episode was titled, quote, Monster Squad, a reference to Braun Strowman's new stable was Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. WWE SmackDown Live's title was, quote, Double Date, which was a nod to Brie Bella, Daniel Bryan, The Miz, and Maurice angle that ran throughout the night and saw Zelina Vega and Andrade Cien Almas attack. This week's Monday Night Raw, and I keep wanting to call it Tuesday SmackDown Live, but SmackDown Live, just so fun. It was a lot of fun to watch. The only thing I really didn't like was from SmackDown, and Sean talked a little bit about this. Sean and Jimmy over on the List and You Boy, which we'll get to at the end of the show. Brie Bella hit a double knee strike onto Zelina, and the way Zelina sold it, I don't think she was selling. I think she got hurt. Yeah. She looked like she got clocked, and that looked very scary. But both shows this week, very, very strong. They're very fun. You know, as much as I don't want to say it, they were very good answers to All In.
Now, here's my question. With the title of Raw being Monster Squad and Braun calling them his squad, you think they can just brand Monster Squad and you think we're going to get Monster Squad T-shirts?
I'm sure we will, but what just upsets me is that we already have Riot Squad. Can we not come up with anything better?
I didn't think about that, actually.
Yeah, you already have Riot Squad. Maybe come up with some, let's right now on the fly think of some better names for Monster Squad. We've got, I don't know. God, I mean, it's hard, but why would you just copy?
I mean,
big sweaty men.
You can go the PCB route and go BDD. Braun, Dolph, Drew.
Isn't that the boss from Kirby? Oh no, that's King DDD. Same thing. But you know, my point stands of why would you just go with Monster Squad? You've already got the Riot Squad, which sounds super unoriginal because that's just Ruby Riot and then the word squad. This one's just Braun Strowman's nickname and then squad.
Right.
It just feels like they kind of didn't really go very creatively with it. You know,
no, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and I mean, SmackDown Live on that spectrum, they had a great night. I mean, everything that's going on with Joe and Styles is great.
Oh yeah.
And I talked about this on our podcast. I think the best way to end this feud is to have Joe pick up that belt, and he can only pick it up in one way.
Which is?
And apparently this was very controversial over on the podcast. If you guys didn't listen to it this last Wednesday, I said he needs to win it with the Muscle Buster.
I remember you saying that. I know
that. What's his name? Was it TJ? No.
Yeah,
Tyson Kidd.
Tyson Kidd.
I know that Tyson Kidd got hurt from it, but freak accidents happen. When someone breaks their leg in the NFL, they don't ban the running game. When someone gets a concussion, they don't ban the tackling game. But I mean that.
True.
Who knows what a tackle is this year in the NFL? And I understand banning the move, but if anyone's going to take this move, if anyone's going to know how to take it correctly, it's the guy that took it for almost 12 years in TNA.
Yeah.
And on the independent scene. I think the Muscle Buster would be great to bust it out as this really vicious side of Joe. Yes, we've got the, I love me some, Wendy! as much as the next guy, but I need to see some real violence out of Joe in the ring. And I think having it in the cell, I think using the Muscle Buster, maybe use the Buster on top of the cage, maybe have it go through the cage, maybe have him do the Muscle Buster, fly off the cage.
But are they even in the cell? I don't think they're in the cell.
Yes, they are in the cell.
Oh, okay. I did not see that.
I'm not going to fact check it. So if they're not in the cell, Tim's going to put it up on... Tim's going to put yes or no on screen right now. All right, there's your answer if they're in the cell or not, because I didn't fact check it. But regardless, I think the only way to end this really true blood feud is to end it with something vicious. Like maybe it's a little way to write them off TV.
But you gotta remember,
Go ahead.
They're going to Australia, and they're going to wrestle for the title in Australia after Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, but you can make that a little calmer.
True.
You can make that a little calmer. So, ladies and gentlemen, Fightful unveiled a new show called Making a Finisher. And this is super interesting to me, and I love it so much, and I love the person that they chose. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to spoil it. It was Hangman Adam Page. He's great, and I love him. So we're going to send it over to Making a Finisher so you guys can get an idea of what it is right now.
I've always been interested in your finish. I love the rite of passage. How did you come up with that? How did you develop it? I'm really interested to hear about that.
You know, I guess it's something in watching, just tons of wrestling and seeing somebody do, and it's something that I didn't feel like anybody was really using, and, I needed something of my own. It's certainly effective. It's certainly something I can do to nearly anyone. So it's something, I grabbed a long time ago and decided to stick with.
When did you start using that as your primary finish?
It's been quite a while ago. Honestly, I was probably, I don't even think I had joined the decade yet in Ring of Honor, if that's even familiar at all. So it's been quite a while ago.
And because, on Wikipedia, it has, Turn the Page and Buckshot Lariat used as your finishers. I was curious as to what made you switch from those and start using this full time.
Yeah, it's weird. Wikipedia can be highly inaccurate.
I run a Wikipedia fact check segment based on that solely.
As far as I know, I've never done a move called Turn the Page. Certainly, I thought about using the name before, but I don't think I've ever done anything called that.
They list it as the reverse STO, basically the flatliner, I would imagine.
Yeah, I've never done a flatliner as a finish. I don't know. I needed something that I could do to nearly anyone. I did a backpack stunner for a while, and this has been a long time ago, but that's something that's a little harder to do on, bigger guys or whatever, even smaller guys sometimes. But I needed something I could do to anyone. I hit it on Shane Taylor recently, and he's nearly as big as they come. So it's something, very versatile.
Has there been anybody that takes the move in a certain way that you see it and you're like, okay, that made me look like $1 million?
No, not necessarily. There's only so much you can do, man. I'm just picking the dude upside down and dropping them on their head. That's kind of all on me, really.
And we've seen the Young Bucks get involved in that finish now, too, as they have their Meltzer driver, and now they do that. Who comes up with something like that? Is that, something that Matt or Nick are just like, hey, let us get in on this. That'd be a good finish.
Oh, man, probably before I joined Bullet Club, or maybe as I was joining Bullet Club, I kind of knew, they did the Meltzer and the Indie Taker, that I wanted to, use that with mine. We've done it a couple times where, depending if we got some smaller guys, I'll get one guy rite of passage, get the other guy tombstone, two guys at once, and let them both come off the top. I love doing that. That was something that was my idea, but it didn't really honestly take too much thinking to figure that one out. It just kind of made sense.
And if you guys want to see the full episode of Making a Finisher, head over to Fightful's YouTube channel. Now, we had All In. All In is done. It is all over. And
Nice
Fightful
one.
got the chance to talk to Cody Rhodes. So let's hear about what Sean talked about with Cody Rhodes and see what was going on there.
All right, so Sean writes, Cody was one of the few big names outside of WWE that Fightful hadn't interviewed before last week, and that changed ahead of the event.
Oh, yeah.
I was particularly curious about All In landing on WGN for the first hour in the middle of the Ring of Honor Tribune Media Sinclair broadcast situation. Cody said that if they were an actual promotion instead of just 3 guys, they would have been difficult to pull this deal off. He also said that he'd like to keep the All Incoming and the All Us productions going even after All In. If you're unsure what those are, All Incoming was basically chronicalizing his journey to All In on the NWA YouTube channel, and All Us was kind of like chronicalizing all the backstage stuff leading up to All In. Mm-hmm. He also goes on to praise Dave Lagana, who was basically the production genius behind all of that, and NWA contacted Cody Rhodes before Lagana and Billy Corgan took over, but he said that he really didn't get a good feeling about working with the NWA until those guys were in control. Mm-hmm. And now he's the NWA champion, and he's going to defend the title in Nashville on the 70th anniversary.
Yeah, that's gonna. I already got my 7th anniversary shirt as well. I think that's gonna be great. I am like super duper excited. I think All In was a huge success. May have not been the best show, but it was a clear example of independent wrestlers are not to be looked at, you know, in the same way as sideshow freaks. Independent wrestlers are wrestlers. They love the profession. A lot of ex-WWE guys, and my biggest example for this is Simon Gotch or Simon Grimm. He loves to wrestle. He doesn't like to he doesn't like sports entertainment. He likes wrestling, and I think that's great. I think All In was a clear example of WWE is not the promised land, and I think a lot of us that are hardcore wrestling fans know that. And there's a lot of people that do think WWE is the promised land, and that's them. But I think with All In, that really proved that they have the ability.
Oh yeah.
To put on their own shows, and they have the ability to be great. I mean, just look at the attendance, how much they got for the pre-show on WGN. It's just everything about it was just fun.
Right, and with the NWA stuff, I mean, Billy Corgan, Dave Lagana over there. You know, Billy Corgan, he owns the NWA name and the belt and all that now. You got Dave Lagana, their head of production, who's putting together all of these 10 pounds of gold videos on YouTube, which is amazing. And they're doing stuff over there. Yeah, they don't have an NWA wrestling promotion right now. But the things that they're doing, they're making that NWA title relevant again. They did it with Nick Aldis when he won the title from Tim Storm. Now that Cody's the champion, Cody said that he's not against traveling with that belt and going to different events to defend the title. So I think overall, in the retrospect of it
overall in,
I guess, retrospect of everything, I think, you know, that NWA title has been made to be something, I don't want to say like a big-time main world title yet, but they're working in that way as far as that's a title that guys that aren't in WWE, that aren't, like, I guess you could say, officially signed to a Ring of Honor or maybe now since Cody's got the title, he can defend it in Ring of Honor. But guys that like can just wrestle anywhere they want, they're going to be like, well, that's our world title. That's the independent scene's world title. That's guys that aren't linked to Impact, WWE, Ring of Honor, that don't wrestle for those world titles can say, hey, the NWA title's the indie scene's world title.
Absolutely. It's not a novelty belt anymore.
No.
It's not a novelty belt. It's not the belt they said, oh, that's the belt that Flair and Dusty held. That's going to be the belt we're going to say. That's the belt that Storm, Aldis, and Cody held. And I think that's great.
Exactly.
You know what else I think is great?
I think I do.
What? What do you think it is?
Is that Jimmy Van and Sean Ross Sapp with the Listen Ya Boy?
Nah. It was Domino's.
Oh.
I mean, they're cool too, but Domino's is, come on. What can beat Domino's? Honestly, what can beat Domino's? Nothing.
Pizza Hut?
Domino's. Maybe the second best would be the Listen Ya Boy. I don't know. You guys tell me. Listen to this clip of the Listen Ya Boy and tell me if this clip that we play is better than Domino's Pizza. Enjoy the Listen Ya Boy, guys. Have a good one.
I think WWE is aware of the success of All In.
Yeah,
and I think that the success of All In lit a fire under WWE, kind of gave them a shot in the arm. And I felt like TV this week, they attempted to make improvements, I think almost in response to the success of All In.
Yeah,
and
they had a lot of superstars in action, Jimmy.
Well, they had, yeah, I know. But I felt like they tried to make improvements, so they like had a lot of progression with the Shield thing, and they did the AOP thing, and you think that they might have pivoted with Becky and Charlotte, and you know they did all this stuff. The problem was because creative has not been great, they didn't necessarily hit home runs every time. That was the problem with TV this week. So we already touched upon these on social media. Let's touch upon them quick because I want to hear Nigel's reaction. So the Shield, Nigel.
Yeah.
They start out Raw. The bad guys are in the ring. We'll get to Braun Strowman in a minute, Sean. The bad guys are in the ring. They hit the Shield's music, and they cue the Shield's video, Titantron. That means the director knows they're coming, right?
Yeah.
They come out through the crowd. They go in the ring. They have a little schmoz in the ring. They inexplicably get arrested, even though they hit their music and they hit their video. They get arrested. This is Labor Day Monday night, Nigel. Labor Day Monday night, okay? So they get arrested. There's a reporter on the scene from WWE that's reporting back, you know, during the show, who reported, okay, 10 p.m. The Shield just appeared before a judge. 10 p.m. Labor Day Monday night. The Shield just appeared before a judge. They've posted bail, and they're out. Okay, sounds good. So Labor Day Monday, they got a judge to show up,
of course,
so that they could appear before him,
naturally,
and they posted bail. Then they stole a police van to go back to the arena.
I tweeted that I thought their white privilege got them out, and people took it serious. They thought, I was like, come on.
Because one's Hispanic, one's Samoan.
One's Samoan.
There you go.
And Corey Graves posted that David Otunga called in a favor. I was like, they could have said that on the air.
You know what it felt to me? It felt to me like they wanted to do something, you know, with some gutspa. You know, they wanted to do something to make a statement, but they didn't know how they were going to get from A to B. They knew that they wanted him to do a schmoz. They wanted to do the police thing. They wanted to do the police van for that visual. They didn't know how they were going to get from A to B. And so somebody decided, well, I don't know, how about they get arrested, but then the judge, like, they see him, and then they post bail. Okay, cool, Labor Day Monday, 10 p.m. That makes sense.
Perfect sense.
That makes sense. And that's kind of the problem, is that they know they want to go to from A to B, but they don't know how to get there. And then when they fill in the blanks, it doesn't make any sense.